5,000 blankets bringing help and hope to the homeless. It's a new Fathom event film in theaters next week, and it's based on the true life story of Cindy Bunch and her family. Cindy joins us to explain more. Cindy, thank you for taking the time to share your story. So how did this movie come about? Briefly tell us what happened to you and your family.
Well, my husband suffered from schizophrenia, and he would often get off of his medications. And when that would happen, he would disappear. And he was a construction engineer working in downtown Fort Worth. So Philip and I would go looking for him in that area, and it's 2 blocks away from where he was working. 2 blocks away is the homeless district. And we just started driving around the homeless district. And Philip was introduced to a world that most children don't get to see. And actually, it was Philip's wish to start our nonprofit. I was putting him, I was tucking him into bed one night after a long day of searching. And he just asked me a question. He said, "Mommy, are you warm?" And I said, "Yeah, baby." He says, "Do you think Daddy's warm?" Kind of took me back. And I said, "Yeah, I think Daddy's warm." And he goes, "Well, Mom, what about all those other people? All those other people we saw when we were driving around. Are they warm?" Oh, wow. And I just told him the truth. I told him, "No, baby, I don't think they're warm." And he says, "Well, we need to get blankets, lots and lots of blankets so we can warm them all up." And this kid did not stop. It was day after day after day after day for about 4 days until it finally just hit me that I needed to do something, and I needed to do something quick. And we didn't have any money back then. I was working 2 jobs and going to school at night, trying to get our lives back together. And I just typed up a letter, telling our story, and I made 1,000 copies of this letter. And literally, I stood on the streets of downtown Fort Worth and handed this letter about our life to everybody that walked by. And I'm an extremely shy person. So I was just kind of like, take this, take this, take this, take this, take this. Everybody that walked by. And a reporter called me up and he said, "We'd like to do an interview with you and your son." And I said, "Okay, that sounds great." So Philip and I did an interview with the channel here in Fort Worth. And he was 5.5 at the time. And the reporter asked him a question. He says, "Well, how many blankets do you want to collect?" And Philip said, 5,000 blankets. We're going to get 5,000 blankets. And then a screenwriter saw the segment and he called me up on the phone and he said, "I'd love to write a screenplay." And I didn't think much about it. And it's like, okay. So he called me back the next day and he said, "Can we meet?" So I met with him, and it's history. Here we are.
Well, and you obviously have a heart for the homeless. So does your son, Philip. The weather's getting colder now. What do you want our viewers to know about the homeless that they may not already know? What did you learn from your experience?
That these people are human beings just like anybody else. They all have a story. They deserve compassion. They deserve love. They deserve somebody to listen to them. Actually, if you sit down and you listen to them, you're going to know exactly what they need. But it takes that connection. You have to literally connect with these people because they're unseen, and people walk by them like they're not human. It bothers me a lot.
It's hard to discern the ones who truly need our help. What's our responsibility as Christians to help them? I've heard a lot of Christians say we don't want to enable someone who's got an alcohol or drug habit. What do you say to them?
Okay. I got a question. Yeah, I got an answer for that. Okay, so if someone's addicted to some kind of opiate, so I'll just leave it at opiate and alcoholism. Okay, if they do not get that drug or their alcohol, they will go into Some will have seizures. Um, they need it to sustain them, to keep them alive. And people don't seem to understand that. They say, oh, he's just an alcoholic. Oh, he's just a drug addict. That is not true. These people are human beings and they have an illness, and it needs to be seen as such.
Yeah, and I think the goal is to eventually get them to get off the drugs or the alcohol and be cured. But it's very hard the way the system is set up right now. The movie is 5,000 Blankets. It's out in theaters as a Fathom event, December 12th and 13th. Cindy, thanks so much for sharing with us. We appreciate your story.
Oh, God bless you. And, let's get people moving. Let's get them out there. Let's get them helping. It takes all of us. It takes all of us to make a difference.